You had your finger on the table for this,
I had a
right?
quarter on the table
Oh
for this
yeah,
one
yeah. Spend
because
your quarter.
I had to look up this film's aspect ratio and or where it was how it's made, and there's
Uh,
no information whatsoever. So I had to go dig and dig and dig, and I found out it was actually shot digitally with this with a Sony
You had to dig on diggers.
yeah, dig on diggers until I found dig if the clams and found found out it was actually shot the same camera they used to shoot that Ewan McGregor film at the same time.
oh, 28
Yeah.
days later.
No, no, the
No, that's not him.
no, it wasn't. No, what did I know? No, it was that it was just it was HD and like that. But the thing is, it was HD Net produced this, right?
Huh?
So part of the whole thing is we're going to show you we can make a good looking movie in it with the HD camera, right? So it was one of the
Mm.
first films to do
Is
that.
that what the? Why this
Yeah.
movie look so
Oh,
odd?
this Mark Cuban started HD Net. Are you do you remember HD Net
Yes,
at all?
Mark Cuban was an executive producer on this movie.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
Mark
Okay.
Cuban started HDNet, and the whole idea is that he would buy bandwidth at cable places so he can show HD stuff like fights and like documentaries and like that.
It was when only like special features were in
Yeah.
HD,
So you go
right?
along, you're like, standard def, standard def. You get this thing, it's this beautiful, da da,
Right.
thing. And
For all those early adopters who had TV HD
HDTVs could
sets.
actually kind of they would gravitate. So for a couple of
Right.
years, he kind of held
Like
it down.
Tad.
Yeah, and so this is part of it. This was him moving out and saying, "Let's make original programming for HDNet." And this was, this was great. It was like was fun because it's the David Wayne troupe.
It
The
is,
guy
and
who did
I
What Hot
love
American
them.
Summer.
And I have a confession. I think I saw this movie when it came out,
Did you
Same.
really?
but
It
I
was in
haven't
theaters.
seen it. I haven't seen it since.
Mhm.
Same.
And I was trying to watch, and I swear to God, like I had a really busy week. I started it and I got pulled away, and then I never got back to it.
Uh,
So I feel so bad, John. But I didn't remember a lot about it, and I watched the first like 10 minutes, and boy, did I not like that first 10. I hated it. I right away there's like really bad ADR in the diner that
Mhm.
they obviously
There's
forgot
so
to,
much
like,
weird audio in this movie.
yeah, like they're trying to fit in thing, and then just I don't know, there was something off, and I do love every actor in this
Cast
movie.
is stacked.
yeah, cast is good.
I really,
But
really
it's
do.
good.
People I usually like.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you can have a great cast, but if you don't have a compelling story,
That's my
Yeah,
problem
so-
with this fucking movie.
yeah, and
I
that's
So
didn't
this
give
is
a
the
shit.
first.
Mhm.
This is the first of two. This is the first of our pair of movies that have really good casts but are completely unfocused.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Uh-huh.
it's and also the first of two movies about people who probably shouldn't have more kids.
Yeah. Fuck.
know,
Yeah, huh?
I think the
I didn't
only-
realize that was a theme going, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the only actor who was really committed to his role was probably Ken Marino, because he was playing his father basically.
Well, he's the
And
writer.
Marino's a fucking huge piece of shit in this movie.
I know
too.
he's a,
Yeah, he is.
I know he is. He's a,
And
not a good-
actually, I have to disagree with you. I think Ron Eldred is doing a terrific job.
he does.
in
He
this
actually did a
movie.
great job in this film.
Maura
Yeah.
Tierney, who's always good. Like it
I
doesn't
like
matter.
all these people.
I think Ron Eldard is
Lots of other
underrated.
things.
I love him. I love him so much in Sleepers. I used to watch that movie a lot. This whole cast is incredible.
Yeah,
Really
He
incredible.
commits to the terrible 70s
Oh, yeah.
cyborgs too. Like he goes all in on being a shithead in this movie.
yeah. This is a who's who of who is big in cable and movies in the aughts.
And
Lauren Ambrose and everybody. It's like
Right.
I was trying to think, like, okay, so how many times has the Rudd
the Rudd.
like gone drama
It's been it's a
I gotta-
handful.
for any?
Not that many
A handful.
times actually.
I have to
that
I
many.
have to say up front, Paul Rudd is my fucking kryptonite. I goddamn hate this guy.
Wow.
I don't think
Oh.
he's funny. I don't think he's
Oh.
interesting. I don't think he's a particularly good actor. He's trying his best in this movie, like I'll say that, but like this
You're-
is
You're definitely in the
This movie-
minority, I think, of most people in the
I'm in the
world.
minority of all humans on the planet. I
Uh-huh.
know.
Right.
Because somehow Ant-Man was popular despite
Yeah.
it being tragically bad.
No, they are
Like-
bad.
I mean, okay, the
But
opposite.
I find Paul Rudd, like, that was my first one. I was like, remember when you're like, oh, I have like a man crush? Like, that was made for him.
Yeah, right.
But
I
this
am
is
not-
also my other problem with this movie primarily is that this is just this is just Goodwill Hunting for stupid people. Like,
There is no genius in this movie. Nobody's a genius
it's
in this
actually
movie.
kind of like I would say it's more like American.
Cons thinks he's a genius because he's done too many drugs.
Yes.
He says some pithy things once in a while.
It felt very amateur, like they're
and Deus Ex Machina's them out of prison at the end.
Yeah.
It's,
also,
it's
mind
so
you,
unfocused and loose.
This is one thing about this is that you always felt like you saw these actors doing their roles, and you realize you can always feel the presence of the trailers right behind the cameras. Like they just stepped out there, did their scenes, and went back in the trailer again. It's like the commitment was never really felt that sharp in this. It's kind of a meandering, like American Graffiti, but with no cars.
Also underrated.
Yeah, only with clams instead of cars.
I'm a huge Josh Hamilton fan. Huge Josh Hamilton fan. He's underrated.
Josh Hamilton's really good in this.
Oh, let me also say about Paul Rudd. I'm the opposite of obviously the opposite of Tad. Not not gay, but I would want him as my boyfriend.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Hold on.
saying.
There's a difference. There's a difference between I would want this person as my boyfriend and I want to watch him in a movie.
Oh, same. I would think it's my.
But it's because we've seen him in movies. We want him as our boyfriend.
For most people, there's this massive amount of goodwill towards Paul Rudd instantly. So no matter what he's in, it's like, Paul Rudd. You know, you're happy to see him.
I like him more as a person than I do as an actor. Like,
right.
Anytime I've seen him out of character, he seems like a pretty interesting and funny and cool dude.
Yeah.
But when I see him in a movie, I'm just immediately like, shut the fuck up. Just stop talking.
That is very
Stop
unusual.
trying to be
But
funny.
he's not doing his usual shtick in this movie.
Right.
No, he's not.
I feel like he is, though.
This
I really feel like he is.
Well, if it is, it's turned way down. I mean,
I'll give Tad this. And this is again a huge fan. When he tries to do serious, you can tell he's acting. Like it's acting with a capital A. It's because he can't see when he's charming and funny and doing the comedy. That doesn't feel like acting because that's him. I think.
Yeah. This is
just a theory. Mm-hmm. When he's Mr. I'm going to do a series like more like this because there's really, I mean, you could probably look through his catalog and there's like 5 drama movies and the rest are these fun. I mean, he's great, but I do think that Tad might be onto something in the sense of certain performers you can kind of see the technique. You can see them acting or lack of technique or whatever you want to call it. You can see them being like, I'm trying to act right now. And I do kind of think that when Paul gets serious, he's got a little hint of that. I'll give you that.
He's not used to it for one. He gets hired to do comedies all the time.
Right.
There's 3 scenes in this movie that I think he nails. The first one is the first time he's looking out the window and he's narrating what's happening out on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is when he goes on the date with the girl, and they go to the seafood place, and like she does the whole thing with the light, and he takes the photo, and he talks to her about that, and
he has a great soliloquy about clams and that. Remember that at the very beginning?
Yeah. He talks to her about the clams and all of that stuff, and then. As they're leaving, she's talking to him, he's talking to her, they're having their little flirty banter, and he's like, so you're going to tell me your name eventually, right? Like,
that's right.
Like, it is a really good, that scene I think is really good, and then I think the last scene with him, starting with him looking out the window again, and then packing his bag.
With the world's coolest dog.
Right.
Yeah, the dog who is not in this movie anywhere near enough.
I know. I need more of that dog.
And then he goes out to the house and he talks to Maura Tierney and Cons is moving in. He's like, take care of my sister. And he drives off and he sees what's his name, Eldred, on the street, and he flips him off. And then he flips him back off, and he turns around. He's got the big smile on his face and a cigarette between his teeth, and it's like, this is good. Like, this is good. This is him acting, maybe or not acting, like just sort of being a person in this world.
Yeah.
This is an interesting cast though, because much like we're talking about Paul Rudd, I think Ken Marino is in the same boat. Meaning, for me, I can't take Ken Marino seriously in any regard at all.
No,
I can't.
Too good
This
at,
guy.
He's too good at
comedy, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I know, but like he wrote
he's
this.
such an unredeemable piece of shit in this movie.
But like, if I don't know, like if. Yeah, but
Party
you've got
Down,
but then you have I love Party Down's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But then you have these really serious heavy, like Josh Hamilton is a serious actor. Ron Eldard is a serious actor.
Mhm.
You know, Maura Tierney can ride both. She can do, you know, she does the comedy just as well as she does the drama. Lauren Ambrose, serious actress. Like it's an interesting mashup here.
Yeah, it's
Well, okay, hold on. So I kept it like this is a townie movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole pile of those. I mean, like on some level, Home for the Holidays.
Oh wow, was it?
You know, I kept thinking about this movie.
Your favorite, Barfly.
American Graffiti.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
Beautiful Girls.
Beautiful Girls. Go back to.
Was that one with the?
That's a good list, Chris. Beautiful Girls. What was the one you said? Family. Not Family Stone. Home for the Holidays.
Was the one with
Family Stone too?
The bicycles. Remember the bicycle races?
I think Barfly. What's the other? Trees Lounge.
Well, but the Barfly is kind of a one. But Barfly is like takes place kind of in one downtown LA.
It also takes place in an alternate universe.
But Barfly is like the lower depths, basically. It's a whole different thing.
Well, that's we should make a list of that subgenre. That's a cool
subgenre. That's a good point.
But so I mean,
hold on, I have to throw this empty beer can out my window.
Even win-win.
Oh, by the way, maybe they aren't clams because you throw so many fucking cigarette butts into the fucking water.
You know, as an antagonist, I thought that the Clan Company was kind of like it wasn't very interesting.
The problem with the Townie movies is there's the formula, right? So it's like there's like you got people off to the side hooking up illicit couple number one, illicit couple number two.
Yeah. Childhood friends,
the series of beats that inevitably happen in these things. But if there's not some strong narrative,
there's always the fight.
Right? Yeah. If there's not some strong narrative hook, like the movie we're going to talk about later, through the whole thing, I mean, I'm just sitting there like at the 3/4 mark, just like stone faced, like I love everybody in this movie. Why
weren't you engaged?
Well, I think, Chris, because it's a very low stakes movie.
Yes,
because they wrote a 106-minute movie based on a Billy Joel song, and that doesn't. And as much as I like Downeaster Alexa, it doesn't track into a film.
Is that seriously how this movie came about?
I have no idea, but to me, that's what it felt like.
They're totally the same. Yeah, that makes sense.
What's Downeaster Alexa about? It's about being a down and out fisherman in fucking Long Island in the 70s.
But yeah, this is Ken Marino writing what you know too. He grew up around this.
I want to see the sequel where Paul Rudd brings his Polaroids to an art gallery in New York and gets laughed out.
Well, they're in focus.
No, but then he takes them to California and he sells the shit out of them because that shit flies if you go up to like Tiburon.
That's true.
If he made those this big and he sold them on a canvas in Tiburon, that motherfucker would live in a mansion.
He'd have his own oyster farm out on the coast. That's right.
Slapshot's a fucking Townie movie.
It is. That's very much a Townie film. Even though people come from all over. What was that one about the kids in the bicycle races against the Townies and the Gownies? Breaking Away. That's a Townie movie.
Big time Townie movie.
That is a really good Townie movie.
The Last Fucking Picture Show. How's that?
Townie movie. Yeah. Those movies.
And once again, like this movie bringing up Jaws, we are talking about better films.
Yes,
we
are. As we always do when we're all going.
Well, that was another thing. It's like, okay, what year is this movie supposed to take place in? 1975. Yeah, wait, after Jaws came out? I guess.
What's that one? David Gordon Green.
That scene where he's in water on his back.
Oh, your head disappeared. That was cool.
Nobody's doing that in the summer of 1975 after the entire country went and fucking saw Jaws.
Yeah. But the whole like the our old ways of life are disappearing kind of story is kind of grinds through this whole thing.
And Billy Joel songs.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll bring you to my valley.
Honestly, I just didn't find this compelling. I did not find it compelling. I liked looking at all the actors, and they were trying to make connections and make drama happen, and it never quite gelled.
Yeah.
Me.
Okay, so can I have a word?
By the way, take it away, man. It's your movie.
I don't disagree with anything you guys are saying. And I picked this because I knew it would be good grist for conversation, and I wanted to see it again. But that's one of the connections between these two films is didn't see them since the year they came out, wanted to see them again, so picked them. The other thing is we're playing that game that I play sometimes, which is Festival Good or Actually Good? Because I saw this one at the Sonoma Valley Film Festival the year it came out.
This is Festival Good.
This is Festival Good.
My Sonoma Valley Film Festival fan?
Yes.
This is great.
No, and the thing was, I was at the Sebastiani in downtown, right on the square in Sonoma. We watched it. Maura Tierney was there afterwards, and the audience was like, "Yeah, what a great flick! Great flick!" I still like this movie. I think it's very low stakes, and it's just sort of an amiable. It's kind of the Paul Rudd of movies. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I like this. It's nice. I enjoyed the time I spent with these guys.
It's a Joel Truglio of movies, man. What are you talking about?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing I was thinking about afterwards. It was sort of mulling it over, and like I said, I don't disagree that it's that not much happens and it's kind of low stakes. But in a way, this is kind of like a blurry rough draft of one of my favorite pictures of all time, which is You Can Count on Me. There's a small town, there's a sibling relationship, they're sort of dysfunctional, and everybody they don't have the life they thought they were going to have.
So if I could, because I'm very familiar with that movie.
Yeah, I know you are.
I saw that when it came out. I saw it in the theater. I bought the DVD. It's when I first was introduced to Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And I thought he was just fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, he's great.
But and I like the comparison. I think just on a technical level, Kenneth Lonergan is just
Kenneth Lonergan's a hell of a writer.
Well, and he's just such a more gifted filmmaker. It's obvious right out of the gate. Like, this movie just felt like, or it feels to me, in my recollection and the little bit I saw this time was like, it's disjointed in a way that it feels like a little bit amateur. And again, every movie is good. Every movie is good.
Every movie's good.
But I think that Lonergan, is You Can Count on Me in all the subsequent films. Is working on a higher level. It's just
no doubt. Yeah. And that's what I said, Jared. I said this is like a blurry first draft of that kind of an idea.
Because I knew this was HDNet behind it. I just felt like a TV movie. Because
I agree with you.
It had a 21-day shoot, and that was it. 3 weeks.
But maybe this is partly something I brought to it. But also thinking about it, I thought it seems very low stakes. But then when you think about it, the stakes are actually for these main characters. What am I going to do with my life? So the stakes are very high. Yeah. They just have this sort of 70s, never really, I'm still sort of acting like I did when I graduated from high school, and I have never really figured out what I'm doing.
Which is like Noah Baumbach's Kicking and Screaming. Very good
picture. Yeah.
Graffiti again.
So even, I think there's this undertone of melancholy that goes with it. And you don't know what Paul Rudd's going to do when he leaves town. He's going west because if he went east, he would fall into the ocean.
That's relatable to most people.
Yeah, it is. It's realistic.
I'm from a small town. I know exactly these people. The people are still there. They're stuck there.
Yeah,
this is what happens. The possibilities of what you do in your life.
And I thought of Mark Ruffalo's great speech at the end about what she's like. What is going to happen to you? She's talking to her brother. He goes, nothing bad. He says, I'll go to Alaska. If that doesn't work out, maybe I'll go out to California.
Okay, we've spent about 25% of this thing talking about other movies.
Yeah.
So we're probably done. So do you want to
well, no, I want to bring up one thing though, which is I had a very similar conversation with my ex about small towns that people get stuck in about Santa Rosa.
Oh yeah.
Like you see so many people at the Mendocino Safeway walking around in their Santa Rosa High School class of 1991 t-shirt.
Oh man.
And it's like, if you don't get out of here at some point in your life, you never get out of here. You're stuck. Like, there's a gravity to this place.
First of all, what's so funny about that is that you're talking about. So Red Bluff is 10 times worse than that.
Oh yeah, there's nothing going on at all.
And I made it out to the place where you're talking about get the fuck out. So I left my shitty town for the place that
Jared. The people back in Red Bluff are going, "Do you hear what Jared's doing?"
I know. But they're like, he's at least in Santa Rosa. That's fucking cool.
He made a horror movie.
I'm from New York City.
Yeah,
and
here you are.
Well,
at least you're in Seattle, which is like a fucking still a cool city.
A very cool town,
right.
yeah.
Which was the whole point of that conversation was like, if I don't get the fuck out of here, I'm gonna die here, and I don't want that.
No,
like,
go ahead.
And she had the same opinion, and we left.
Right, well, and maybe a part of that is just not to die where you were born.
Did you ever tell you why? Did you ever tell you why I left Santa Cruz? I grew up there. First of all,
why'd you leave Santa Cruz, Scott?
That's not a bad place to grow up or even live, because it's a beautiful place.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, but me and Dave and David took mushrooms one night and tripped out in the living room, and I woke up the next morning with a very clear vision. Get the fuck out of town.
You had like a George Carlin moment.
Yeah, I did. I woke up and I applied for San Francisco State that afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like sometimes the connections you make are very valuable. And I got out.
That's why I went to Tulane. It was like, get 1,500 miles away from this shitty suburb that you're living in right now, which is very similar to this town, except instead of clam diggers, it was independent car body shop owners.
Well, I'll tell you, when I first visited here to see if I was going to transfer to Sonoma State, my friend drove me out to through Bodega.
Oh yeah.
And first I tripped out when I saw the birds locations because I knew them very well.
That little playground.
Yeah, you just see the church. You just see the church on the side of the hill, and it's like,
yeah, I'm all shit. And then she said, "I'll never forget your face." See, so Red Blood. Let me tell you something. When we drove up the hill coming out of Bodega Bay, and you first crest and you see the ocean, she said my face was like I lit up like a fucking firework. She was like, "I've never seen you look like that," and I was like, "Because I don't ever see the fucking ocean."
That's right.
Ever. And so, and then when I moved here, I was like, I can go to the city anytime I want.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't want to live in the city, but I don't want to live in Red Bluff. This is a perfect intermediary sort of kind of place for me.
Yeah. I can go out on this balcony right here, and I can lean slightly over and look that way and see the ocean.
Oh, cool.
That's amazing. See, that's amazing to me.
No. So, okay, we're so off topic.
We are, but Scott, don't cut any of this. I think it's all really good.
This is what this episode's about.
It's what the episode's about.
This is what the episode's about. You're absolutely right. They're not cutting any of this because this is good stuff. And so I think we should still wrap it up there. Any last thoughts?
I like this movie. I don't think it's I don't think it's anything it's not, but I like it.
I just didn't find it very compelling.
I'm like 55%.
When Jared told me he kind of zoned out and wandered away from this film, I kind of understood what you're talking about.
I was taking